Hey y'all, I'm Rylan. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to spend a few minutes today chatting about a cozy and cute and sweet romance that I recently picked up on a whim. This is an indie romance release called SPARKS in Iceland, and the author is Mandi Lynn Bell. This is a relatively recent release. It's not a Christmas book or a holiday romance per se, but it does still give all those wintry and chilly and snowy vibes that often come along with books this season, and I picked it up recently, read it super quickly, and had a wonderful time with it. The official pub date for this book was October 21st, 2025, and I found this one randomly while scrolling through NetGalley. It was labeled as Read Now, which means that it was able to be automatically downloaded without having to request it and wait for an approval or denial for the book. So of course I had to download it. The cover was so cute, and although I had never heard of this book or this author before, I have been very much craving cutesy closed door romances recently, and this one 100% fit that description. To give a quick synopsis for this book, we are following two best friends who have been friends since childhood, Harper and Luke. And Harper has been planning this vacation to Iceland. It is her first time leaving the country, and she has been planning and saving up for this trip for a very long time. She was supposed to go with her best friend who suddenly cannot go anymore. And so in her childhood, best friend Luke offers to take the other friend's place. They end up going to Iceland together. But on this trip, they are forced to confront the feelings that they may or may not have had for each other for a very long time now. Harper, who is very scared to actually admit that she may have feelings for her best friend, actually ends up trying to set Luke up with somebody else on the trip, which adds some drama to their relationship and forces them to confront even more the feelings and emotions that they have for each other and have had for a very long time. If you're looking for a cute escapism book with very fun travels and descriptions of setting and vacation vibes, I would highly recommend checking this one out. The tropes in this one include best friends to lovers, one bed, vacation, he falls first and has been in love with her for years, and overall just such a fun combination of these tropes as well as the setting of this book, made for a fun and enjoyable reading experience. Content warnings for this book do include mentions of infidelity. I like to share content warnings in my single book reviews. We'll also have that listed in the description down below if you want to check out more details on this one. Although I have already mentioned that I very much enjoyed this book, I do want to share that my official rating was 4 stars. I picked this one up not knowing what to expect, not having seen this book anywhere before, and it is safe to say that I want to read more by this author. In the future, I have asked my husband for more books by her for Christmas. I think I'll be getting at least 4, and I am very excited to open those up. I didn't give it 5 stars for a very specific reason, and I'll share that in a moment, but I want to dive first into my thoughts on the plot and then the characters, and then we will chat, of course, about my overall feelings on the book, but mostly good things. And I encourage y'all to check this one out if any part of this video makes this one sound interesting to you. Now, regarding the plot, I personally have not been to Iceland, so cannot speak to the accuracy of every single detail in this one, but if you love to travel and are just looking for an escapism vacation when you can't actually travel yourself, you may end up very much enjoying this one. I felt like I could place myself into the story, into Iceland, with our two characters, and genuinely felt like I could follow them around as they were going to different spots and taking pictures and visiting all these places that had been on Harper's bucket list for so long. We get a fun mix of both plot and adventures and going out and doing things, while also balancing that with character development and this relationship that needs to continue forming between Harper and Luke, because even though they have been friends since childhood, there are stronger feelings there now that they are older, and they do need to confront those at some point on this trip. So the balance of adventurous plot with character development was very well done, and I didn't feel like it was focused on one more than the other, but the blend was very well done and made me feel like I could put myself into the story with the characters and be on their journey as they took this great vacation, but also had conversations about how they felt for the other person. The intro to this book takes place in the US, but most of it does take place on this vacation. And again, just the setting made this book great. I will say that there is a large chunk of the plot that is centered around other potential love interests that these characters are trying to kind of force onto each other, which I didn't love. I felt like it took a little bit of the focus away from Harper and Luke in their trip together, but I do think that everything worked out how it was supposed to. I just feel like the focus on other love interests and other dates that were kind of happening on this trip did end up taking over the story for a little bit, which kind of gets into my thoughts on the characters and why I didn't quite give this one 5 stars. The friends to lovers trope, I have learned officially, is top tier, especially when they've been best friends since childhood and have been holding back feelings for each other for so long. Just chef's kiss. I loved that aspect of this book. But on top of the best friends to lovers trope, the one bed trope, the he has been in love with her for years trope, there's also this element of a love triangle, or a love square, or 2 love triangles maybe is a better way to put it, where Harper tries to set Luke up with another person that they meet on this trip, and Harper tries to set herself up with a guy that they meet on this trip. And so the 2 side characters that are kind of dating or going on dates with Harper and Luke during a large chunk of this book definitely grew to be a little bit too much for me. I felt like the such strong focus on them and Harper and Luke going off to do things with their other potential love interests took away from the time that Harper and Luke could have spent together. Yes, I liked the conflict and I felt like it drove the story a little bit, trying to hide their own feelings and instead maybe pursue something with somebody else. I didn't mind that one bit, but I eventually felt like we got to the point where it was overshadowing the actual plot and the actual romance between Harper and Luke, because for probably 40-45% of the book, they're kind of off with other people doing other things and fighting because of that. And so that conflict grew to be a little bit too over the top for me when the romance was supposed to be about Harper and Luke, and I kind of wished it was introduced but toned down a little bit, if that makes sense. But otherwise, I felt as though both Harper and Luke were so very likable. We get to follow both of their POVs, which is always, I mention this often, one of the main reasons I love reading romance is to get both main characters' perspectives of the world around them and how they view the person they are interested in. And I really liked getting to follow both of them. They were both very sweet, and I was so happy with how they finally ended up together and admitted the feelings they had had for each other for so long. I will conclude with this, with my overall thoughts on this one. I have been craving more sweet and cozy and closed door romances, and this book made me realize how much more of that I want. I do like reading books with spice. I have books with spice on my bookshelves, but there's just something about a closed door romance that I can so honestly appreciate, and how you can build the tension and the angst without the open door scenes. And I appreciated that being the case in this one. Definitely makes me want to read more by both this author and more closed door romances in general. I had a great time. I wrote in my notes, in my notebook, that it hit the spot, and it definitely gives me the travel bug. Makes me want to visit Iceland, and might be adding that travel spot to my own bucket list. If you're looking for a cute, cozy, and fun closed door romance, I would recommend checking this one out. Here in the US, we are getting the chilly vibes, the snowy vibes in certain parts of the country, and that aesthetic in this book matches kind of what I'm in the mood to read currently at this time of year, and I had a great time with this one. Overall, very underrated. Want to hype it up and give it some more exposure, which is why we are chatting about it today. My question for y'all today is, if you have any closed door romance recommendations, please feel free to comment them down below. I have just been itching for more recently and want to get some more on my TBR. But that is all that I have for today's book review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.